What's up, guys? It's Eric from Rare Candy, and welcome back to the top 4 match of the recent League Cup that we got to go attend. And if you guys did not see the top 8 match, I'll be sure to have a link to that in the description, so definitely check that out if you missed that one. But for this tournament, it was actually going to be the Worlds format. This is one of the last tournaments where cards from Primal Clash all the way up to Burning Shadows were going to be legal for play. So here on the left we have Christopher Watkins. He's going to be playing Golisopod Garbodor against yours truly, actually playing Decidueye GX on the right. So we'll have to see how this match goes. To be honest, I had not tested against this Golisopod Garbodor deck very much. So going into this matchup, I really had no idea how this would go. He does have the Garbotoxin Garbodor to shut off ability, so that could be potentially problematic. And it does run typically 1 or 2 Acerola to heal off his damaged Golisopod. So, you know, Chris has, I think, some answers to my deck, which has me worried. But like I said, I had not tested it, so I'm not sure really how this matchup is expected to go. I really just have to hope that I can time my field blowers right to get rid of his tools on his Garbodor. That way I can get my abilities back. That's going to be a big factor in this matchup, I think. So other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward. You know, I can, Golisopod's going to have to two-shot my Decidueyes. I can spread damage and then de-evolve them with things like Espeon EX. So I think that is an out as well. If an early Garbodor gets online, I could go the spread route and try to de-evolve some of his Pokemon. But here I am going to go first, and man, I actually have a pretty solid hand. I have Force of Giant Plants. I have an Ultra Ball. I'm going to get rid of a Dartrix and a Grass Energy. So most likely I will probably go for a either a Shaman or a Tapu Lele GX. I have the Decidueye GX already in hand, so maybe I could go for Lele and just try to get a Sycamore going, or maybe a potential option is just grabbing Shaman and trying to dig through my deck and try to set up as many Decidueyes as possible. But actually, if you guys were looking at the contents of my deck, I actually have 3 Rowlet prize this game, and I was just thinking, oh my god, are you kidding me? I've made it all the way to top 4 and I only have 1 Rowlet in my entire deck, so that is that's pretty bad. Luckily, Chris does not know the contents of my deck just yet, but that is definitely problematic here. So I'm going to attach a Grass Energy for turn, evolve into that Decidueye thanks to Force of Giant Plants, letting Grass Pokemon evolve immediately. And let's see, not too much of anything else. So I'm probably just going to put the 20 damage on this Wimpod and pass for turn. And here, I forget what we're discussing, but anyway, so it's going to pass over to Chris. Unfortunately, I do have Force of Giant Plants in place, so that means he is going to be able to evolve his Wimpods on the first turn if he chooses to as well. But here he's going to play that Bridget, grabbing, it looks like another Wimpod, and I would imagine a couple of Trubbish. That's going to be kind of his best friend in this matchup to shut off my abilities. So it looks like he is eyeing down the other Trubbish. He does play Tapu Koko in his deck, and it looks like he actually might be eyeing that down as well. And, that might be a decent option if he has a double Colress Energy in hand. Okay, so it looks like he is favoring the Tapu Koko. So I guess that's okay. I did not get a good look at the rest of Chris's hand, but if he does have a double Colress Energy, he will be able to start doing some damage with that Tapu Koko. Okay, so we see an Ultra Ball in his hand, and here he is going to retreat. And he does have a Float Stone as well. So I don't know, if I'm Chris, I may have would have preferred a second Trubbish as opposed to a Wimpod. Just because if I have double Colress Energy and a Guzma, I will be able to just take out this Trubbish before it can shut off my abilities. And I've already played my Tapu Lele, so unfortunately I don't have another one in the deck to grab a Guzma with. But let's see what we can get off Trainer's Mail here. Unfortunately not a Guzma here. So I am going to grab the Float Stone there to give my Pokemon free retreat, whoever I decide to attach it to. So let's see. I have an N in hand. I could do that, but here I'm going to play Ultra Ball. I'm going to get rid of an N, and looks like Shaman. I think that will probably be a fine card to get rid of, actually, if I decide to. Because I actually really want to go for a Tapu Koko this turn if possible. Okay, so here I'm going to get rid of the Shaman. The reason I'm doing that as opposed to getting rid of the second N is because I want to hold on to the N. That way I don't have to play Versus Seeker, putting more items than necessary in my discard pile. So here I'm going to grab Tapu Koko, and this is actually pretty cool because Chris has a decently full field, so I'm really going to be able to get good value out of this flying flip attack. So for a double colorless energy, it'll do 20 to each of his Pokemon. But here I'm going to get that Floatstone Retreat, and I could maybe play the N, but I don't want to refresh, I guess, Chris's hand for him. I think I still probably should have played the N here. But let's see what Chris is going to opt to do. He does have an Ultra Ball. Looks like he is contemplating getting rid of some stuff to grab most likely a Garbodor or a Tapu Lele GX if he does not have a draw supporter. Here's going to Ultra Ball, getting rid of that Guzma and Versus Seeker. And it does look like he is eyeing down that Tapu Lele. Okay. And okay, so he's going to grab a Professor Sycamore. And I'm not sure what else he has in his hand, but okay, he has a Floatstone, so he's going to at least play down his hand a little bit, and he's going to Sycamore here, getting a fresh hand of 7. And since he has that Golisopod GX, he will be able to actually take a knockout this turn as well. Okay, so he's going to Ultra Ball, so most likely we are going to see a Garbodor hit the field. He did discard Magearna EX, which I'm actually very excited for because Espeon EX, I think, is going to be a way to really come back into this matchup with all of these Rowlets being prized. So since he's actually going to be getting out Garbodor and discarding the Magearna, my Espeon will be able to put in work if I can manage to get out at some point as well. Here he's going to play Field Blower, getting rid of the Forest and the Floatstone. And it looks like he's attaching DCE to Tapu Lele, just starting to power that up. And here he's going to use Golisopod GX's first impression. If Golisopod became, if it was on your bench, became your active Pokemon for the turn, it does 30 plus 90 more. So Tapu Koko only has 110 hit points, so he does get a knockout here. And here I am going to promote this Tapu Lele, and I might even consider playing Rescue Stretcher to get back this Tapu Koko. I think that might be one way I could potentially win this. But here I am going to play the N. I might try to save my Rescue Stretcher just because I only have one Decidueye to work with, so I might need to really save my recovery cards for my only Decidueye I'm going to have access to. But here I think I may have preferred the Rescue Stretcher on Tapu Koko, but maybe my Revitalizer is prized. I'm not sure. Ooh, and here I actually have a pretty decently workable hand. So let's see. I can put down the double colorless energy and swing on this Golisopod GX, and I might actually do that. I do have the Espeon, I do have Field Blower, but really I don't want to play Field Blower just yet. I want to be able to play down the Espeon first. So it looks like he is going to grab another Golisopod GX, and another reason I am saving my Field Blower is because I want to be able to use this Acerola on my Tapu Lele next turn. And when I do that, I want to be able to grab a supporter with it because I don't have actually another draw supporter right now. Okay, so here Chris is going to retreat into this fresh Golisopod and do 120 with first impression. And here I actually I'm actually in a good spot, so let's see what we're going to do here. So I'm going to bench the Espeon EX. I need to play the Field Blower to get rid of Garbodor and Garbodor's Floatstone. So I'm going to do that. We're going to get rid of, may as well get rid of both the Floatstones, but the Garbodor's one is the most important one. So here I'm going to play Acerola, picking up the damaged Tapu Lele, promoting the Espeon, and then I can just put 2 damage counters on this active Golisopod. I'm going to bench the Tapu Lele again, just in case Chris does get another Float Stone down on his Garbodor. I want to be able to grab a supporter to use on my next turn as well. So I'm going to grab my Sycamore here. And then I can actually attach the Grass Energy I have in hand as well instead of this double Carlos, which is nice. And here I can use Miraculous Shine. It's going to de-evolve all of Chris's Pokemon. So what's nice is these Golisopods both had enough damage on them to where the Wimpods underneath of them got knocked out. So this is actually pretty big. I can take out Chris's only real attackers. You know, he can attack with this Tapu Lele GX, but his Golisopod is normally his main attacker here. Okay, and I actually get, it looks like a Rowlet and a Verse Seeker off my prizes. So definitely very good prizes to get here too. So let's see how Chris is going to respond, because that was actually a pretty big turn for me there. Here, he's probably just checking how many items I have used at this point. Probably trying to see if he wants to evolve into one of his Garbotoxin Garbodors, or Trash Range Garbodors, if I just had to guess. Okay, so he is going to evolve into another Garbodor. He doesn't have a Float Stone on it right now, though. Oh, well, he does have Teammates, so never mind. I may have spoke too soon. So Teammates, since one of his Pokemon did get knocked out on on my last turn, he gets to search his deck for any 2 cards and put them into his hand. So it looks like he's eyeing down a Wimpod and a Float Stone. He definitely wants the Float Stone more than anything. The other card he could maybe try to go for could be a Choice Band to maybe just do a solid amount of damage to this Espeon. Or I forget how many items I have in my discard pile, but if he goes for a Trash Range Garbodor, that would actually be really good as well, if he has an energy in hand for it as well. Because Espeon is weak to Psychic. And it looks like he's not favoring the Trash Range one, he's favoring Tapu Lele. I actually think that may have been a slight misplay on Chris's part, just because this Espeon would be pretty easily knocked out by a Trash Range. Okay, but here I'm actually, I think, still in a good spot. Do I have a Forest of Giant Plants? If so, my turn will actually be pretty good here. So let's see, I could play Acerola again since I did get a Versus Seeker. That is definitely an option. But since I have my, well, yeah, I don't have my abilities back, so I won't be able to use that Shaman. So maybe just going for an N will be the safe play here. Oh, I think I know what I'm going to do here. I can attach this double colorless energy, retreat. Well, I could play the Acerola, but what I might do is retreat and Sky Return, and then whatever Pokemon I promote, I might Acerola that one up when it gets damaged. It's hard to say here. Yeah, I'm just a little bit conflicted. I don't know if I want to pick up this Espeon with Acerola or not. It's definitely very tempting. So you can see I'm just like so torn here on what to do. But I think I might want to save that to maybe reuse this Tapu Lele potentially. I'm not sure. So here I am going to commit to the Shaman, and the reason I'm going for the Shaman is because I really don't have enough damage on this Lele in order to take a knockout with it with my own Tapu Lele GX. But here I'm kind of conflicted who I actually promote. I think Rowlet actually could be a really safe target here, but I just got back my one of my only Rowlets, so I'm it's not something I really want to do. But in hindsight, I think getting rid of the Rowlet would have been the correct play here. Or promoting the Rowlet, I should say. I think that definitely would have been a bit stronger. Okay, so it looks like Chris is going to get a Golisopod with a Rainbow Energy on it. So let's just let's see what he has. He's got a Choice Band. Okay, so he is going to commit a lot to this Tapu Lele and try to do a big chunk of damage to me. So he's going to hit me for 110. That's a nice 2-shot he'll be able to do. And, you know, I might even be able to... Okay, well, I can level ball now, so I can grab myself another Dartrix, starting to get these Decidueyes up online. You know, one thing I can maybe do is use Acerola to pick up this Lele and promote a Decidueye and use Hollow Hunt. I think that is an option as well. So I'm definitely kind of conflicted here. I think maybe last turn I should have just promoted the Rowlet, but I think I was just like, you know what? Like I said, I really need to preserve any of my Decidueye line that I can. So here it looks like I'm opting to keep going the Shaman route, and I'm going to use Acerola to pick up this Tapu Lele GX until I can put it in range for a knockout with a different attacker. And here it looks like I am going to opt to bench it. And we're going to see another Sky returned for another 30 damage. So now this Tapu Lele will be within range of being knocked out. Okay, so here I am going to promote this Espeon EX. And I do have an N in hand as well, so I can potentially, you know, even though I'm going to sacrifice it here, I can just end Chris down to a low hand size. And with his own Garbatox and Garbodor out, he won't be able to use something like Tapu Lele to get out of it if need be. So he's going to go for a Rescue Stretcher, attach Grass Energy for turn, and here just take a knockout with that Tapu Lele. Okay, so now I'm going to promote my own, and okay, so I have double Colorless Energy, just making sure my math is correct. I'm going to attach Floatstone to the Decidueye, and then just Sycamore, Shaman, and DCE away. And do I get a Field Blower? That would actually be big here as well. Do I have a Trainer's Mail? Okay, do I have Trainer's Mail? Do I get Field Blower? That's going to be a big thing here to allow me to use my abilities again. And I do hit it, so now I will be able to get rid of Chris's Floatstone. I think he's actually used 3 at this point. It's 3 or 4, but I think it might be 3. So chances are he is going to have a hard time getting, you know, getting another one here. Okay, so let's see. I didn't get a good look at what else I had in hand, but now I can start to do some Feather Arrow shenanigans and you know, start to put some more damage on Chris's board. So after I knock out this Lele, I'm going to go down to 2 prizes. So I think I'm going to go for, looks like Trubbish, taking that out, just in case Chris does get one of those Trashlanch Garbodors in hand. And okay, I drew a Forest. That's actually kind of good. So I'm going to get the Forest in play. And okay, it looks like I'm just putting it in play because I'm going to go down to 1 card in hand, and I really don't want to get end here. If I do, I want to thin it out of my deck and make sure I don't draw into it. And I think Chris has he's used at least 1 Field Blower, so he might not even have a way to get rid of this other Forest that I just put in play. Okay, he does have a double Colorless Energy, so he could attach to a Golisopod, and if he gets a Choice Band, he can actually take a 1-hit knockout on Tapu Lele GX with Golisopod GX crossing Cut GX attack. But I'm not sure if he has access to it or not. So here he's just revealing he has the double Colorless Energy. He just doesn't know what is the most optimal target for it. And again, I think just putting on Golisopod is fine, and then playing Sycamore and hopefully getting a Choice Band. I'm not sure how many he's gone through at this point, but he might have 1 or 2 left. Okay, looks like he's checking his discard. I'm not sure what he's looking for. Probably just checking what resources he's gone through at this point. And here's that a Drampa GX in his hand? I can't really tell, but if so, that's actually interesting. That could potentially come into play. Here he's going to Ultra Ball a Trubbish. I did not see the other card. He's going to grab himself a Garbodor, so maybe he was expecting something else in his deck, or maybe he was just trying to take a look to see what he had left at this point. So looks like we're just going to see a retreat and then a first impression. So since he didn't get the choice band, it's better to keep that Golisopod with much more energy on the bench. That way Tapu Lele does less damage to it. But, I draw a Rowlet, finally. I can play Rescue Stretcher here. Getting this Dartrix in play. Getting a Decidueye in play. And so what I can do is I can actually just Guzma up this Tapu Koko. And then I can put a bunch of damage counters on it and then knock it out with this Tapu Lele. And there, Chris actually revealed he had 2 of his Acerola prized, which is definitely a big card in this matchup for him since I'm trying to spread damage and then eventually de-evolve his Pokemon at some point as well. So a little unfortunate for Chris there. I think we both made a couple of little misplays here and there, but I think the Acerolas being prized really hurt. And, well, I guess I shouldn't say anything. I had 3 Rowlet prized. I remember looking at my opening search that game, just thinking, okay, yeah, I'll lose. This is fine. But I managed to somehow pull it out there. So going on to game 2, since this is best 2 out of 3, the loser of each game does get to decide who goes first. So no doubt Chris will want to go first and start developing his board before I can. So hopefully his Acerolas are not prized this game. That will definitely give him a much better shot at combating the strategy of my deck as well. So I'm trying to think, if he did have Drampa GX in his hand that one turn, that could actually be a big card as well. My deck is extremely reliant on special energies for basically all my attackers. So that could be big to slow me down. I mean, granted, the Decidueye can still put damage on the field without any energy. But, if he gets a Garbatox and Garbodor and a Drampa, that could be bad. And here I actually have a pretty sweet opening hand yet again. Starting with Tapu Koko, definitely my preferred starter in the entire deck. Have a Rowlet, have a Tapu Lele. I think I have a Forest of Giant Plants as well. And here we're going to get game 2 underway. Chris, unfortunately, is starting with one of his Tapu Lele GX. That's definitely a card he usually wants to, bench from hand like he's doing now. And so let's see, he's probably checking for that Bridget. So he is going to be able to play Bridget, letting him grab 3 basic Pokemon from his deck and putting them on his bench. So here looks like he's favoring a Tapu Koko, looks like a Trubbish, and a Wimpod. Okay, so it looks like he's actually going for the double Wimpod here. And again, this is a situation I think I just prefer going for 2 Trubbish here. I think the ability lock is just so important in this matchup. You can attack with, you'll have an out to 1 Golisopod at the least, and then Tapu Lele is also a decent backup attacker if need be. So I think just ensuring you get the ability lock is really important. And here, I mean, looking at my hand, this is pretty exciting, I won't lie. I have double Colorless Energy, so we're guaranteed a 20 damage spread everywhere. And here I'm just going to end. I could have played Tapu Lele to get a Sycamore or something like that, but I really didn't want to get rid of a Verseeker, I think it was, and a Rescue Stretcher. But, getting the Forest in play is the big thing. So now, pretty much most cards I draw at this point will really help me develop my board. Because sometimes if you don't draw the Forest, you can be stuck with a hand of a lot of unworkable cards. But here I have Level Ball grabbing a Dartrix, and then I do have Decidueye GX in hand ready to go as well. But here, while I'm searching my deck, I just want to see what all is prized. I want to make sure we don't have, 3 Rowlets prized yet again, or anything crazy like that. And I think I did see Espeon EX in the deck. That's also a very important card, for this matchup. So other things I like to take note of here is I want to see if my Revitalizer is prized, Rescue Stretcher, Field Blower is also a very important card. So just making sure I have what I need in my deck to close out this game. Okay, and I do have an Ultra Ball in hand, so I can actually keep digging. And I have a Shaman, so I can keep drawing even more cards. Oh man, okay, so this hand is pretty obnoxious. I'm not even gonna lie. I have a choice banded Tapu Koko that's ready to swing. Um, let's see. It looks like I might have some awkward targets to discard with Ultra Ball, but hopefully it'll be worth it. So I can grab myself a Dartrix and get out a second Decidueye, and then I have another Shaman in hand to keep on digging, and I can maybe even start setting up a third at some point. Okay, and I'm going to keep using setup. So let's see if we can make something happen. Okay, so we get a Rowlet. I don't think we can get out a third Decidueye, but I can't really complain. This is pretty much like the optimal way this deck is supposed to work. So here I'm going to put 4 damage counters on this Trubbish for sure. That's going to be, a card I really want to start taking down as soon as possible. And then I'm going to close out my turn with a Flying Flip. So this is, pretty much how this deck is supposed to work. And one thing, if you haven't guessed by now, I am actually not running Vileplume or Ninetales or any other support Pokemon in this Decidueye deck. I'm kind of just, committing all of my resources to getting out the Decidueyes as consistently as possible. And so here it looks like Chris does have an Ultra Ball in hand. So most likely he's going to want to get out well, if he has a Floatstone, he might go for a Garbodor, but if not, he might favor getting out a Golisopod. So it looks like he's just trying to figure out what all he wants to get rid of here. He's going to get rid of a double colorless energy and a grass energy. So let's see what he's going to find. Looks like he is eyeing down Golisopod GX. So if he has an Acerola or a Guzma, he could also get out his Golisopod that way as well. Ooh, and he actually has a Hex Maniac as well. Oh, he does have Floatstones. That's interesting too. He's in kind of a tricky situation because if he wants to get out this Golisopod, he is going to commit the Floatstone to the Lele instead of the Trubbish, which is actually big here. And so here we're probably just going to see ooh, he has Hex Maniac, so he's going to play the Hex return, use First Impression to take a knockout. So this is actually a pretty good move on Chris's part here. And I'm going to draw for turn, and I have a Grass Energy, have a Floatstone. So this turn, okay, I have some options. I have Guzma in hand, so I think I might Guzma up this Lele that he has on the bench. I think that's the right play here because even though the Trubbish has a larger retreat cost, Chris wants to have a Floatstone on that, so I want to force him to burn yet another Floatstone on like a suboptimal target like this Lele. And so here I can use Hollow Hunt GX, getting back some resources from my discard pile. It lets you get any 3 cards out of your discard pile back into your hand. So I definitely want a double colorless energy at the least. I might even get out this Guzma again, just to maybe take a knockout on something. I didn't get a good look at my hand, but if I have Verse Seeker, I might leave the Guzma in there. So here I'm going to get those. The Tapu Koko could be good here. So let's see, if he gets a Garbodor, that could be actually kind of annoying because I'm getting this Tapu Koko just as a way to kind of ensure that, I can take out this Trubbish. But actually, maybe, okay, so he does have Heavy Ball here. So he can, it looks like he's favoring a Golisopod GX. In hindsight, I think I maybe should have left the Koko in the discard pile and gone for something like a Level Ball or an Ultra Ball to get out a Dartrix or something like that. Because if I have Guzma, I can actually just take a knockout on Trubbish with a Shaman, which is actually kind of something I'd want to do. I want to get these Shamans off the field just because Guzma can easily, help Chris pick these off with his Golisopod GXs. So even though I'm in a good position, these Shamans are definitely a big liability at the moment. So it looks like Chris is, really debating something here. I didn't get a good look at the cards he has in hand. Okay, so he is going to Guzma up a Shaman, so just like I was saying, I really need to get these out of here. These are going to be a way that Chris can steal this game if I'm not careful. So let's see, I'm thinking about promoting the Shaman. Yeah, that's fine, because I can bench the Tapu Koko as a free retreater if need be. I also have a Float Stone in hand, so I could throw the Float Stone down and allow myself to free retreat that way. Oh yeah, I have my abilities. I forgot. I'm not under Hex anymore. And actually, that was a pretty good prize that I got there. I got a Dartrix. Have this DC. I definitely want to put that on Shaman. Putting a Float Stone down on this Decidueye. And, what do I want to play here? Chris didn't really do too much, so I don't want to play this N. So I'm going to Ultra Ball. I'm going to get rid of this N for sure. And force a Giant Plant. So I'm thinking I might actually end up benching Lele to grab a Sycamore. And here I'm definitely going to grab myself another Decidueye. That seems really good. Another option would be grabbing something like Espeon EX, but I already attached to Shaman, so actually that's probably bad. So here I am going to grab Sycamore. I like this play. Can get rid of my hand, get a fresh hand of 7. And the next turn I'll actually have access to a Shaman again too, since I am using Sky Return. Okay, so I end up discarding the Tapu Koko anyways. I guess I figured it's not too crucial now at this point, now that Garbodor's gone. I do have Rescue Stretcher. I can choose to get it back if need be. But here I have 4 more damage counters to work with, so I can probably put those on this Golisopod, I guess. I might consider spreading them around even, but here I'm just going to commit all of it to the Golisopod. That way I can more easily take a knockout on it on my next turn. Ooh, and Chris does have the Acerola, so that is going to be good for him. And because of my own Force of Giant Plants, he actually will be able to evolve back into a Golisopod as well. Okay, so he is going to attach a Rainbow Energy for turn. And I don't know, Chris may have forgotten about my Force of Giant Plants because it doesn't look like he is... It does not look like he's evolving into that Golisopod. But here, okay, so he's going to put the Choice Band on Tapu Lele. Here he's going to retreat and just do First Impression for 120 damage. And, ooh, I think I actually have Acerola in hand, and if that's the case, that is pretty spicy because I can actually make use of this first Decidueye's Feather Arrow, and then I can actually Acerola it all the way back up. And play it back down and evolve all the way up to Decidueye and get basically an extra Feather Arrow for turn. Okay, so I am going to play Trainer's Mail. Okay, so I have a Field Blower I could grab. So that seems okay, I guess, at this point. I think that's actually pretty important because Chris needs a free retreating Pokemon every turn if he has Guzma. So I think it's really important getting rid of that Float Stone. It's also good to get rid of the Choice Band, but the Float Stone's pretty important here. So I'm going to play Trainer's Mail yet again. Might take this Choice Band because I actually might be able to knock out this Golisopod GX. If I have a double colorless in hand, that is. Because what I can do is I can Acerola up this damage to Decidueye, and then I can promote my, looks like the, yeah, I can attach Choice Band to the bench Decidueye with the Grass Energy. Okay, and here, what am I doing? Okay, so I am going to finally Acerola up this Decidueye. So, but the math actually works out really good right now because this active Decidueye will do 120. Golisopod already has 90, so I will be able to take a knockout with it. And here, I guess I'm just double checking my math, but first I should probably use that additional Feather Arrow that I got for turn. So looks like I'm going to put it on that Wimpod on the bench, and then I can just use Razor Leaf to finish taking a knockout this turn as well. Okay, I do have a float stone. I want to get that down. Again, I'm going to be going down to a low hand size here. Or I'm sorry, a low amount of prize cards. So if Chris does have an N, I want to kind of get extra cards out of my hand so I don't draw into him with an N if he does get one. So what does Chris have to work with? So he can attack for, what is that, 100 with his Tapu Lele, but I might even be able to respond with a knockout here. If I have Acerola again, that would be oh, that'd be so obnoxious. Okay, and I think I actually did see Versus Secret in my hand, so yeah, I can start to do some kind of degenerate plays here if I choose to. So I have double Carlos Energy. I'm going to put that down with Tapu Lele, so that tells me I am going to go for a Guzma or Acerola this turn. So I have a lot of options in my hand. I'm just trying to think through everything, make sure I am going to do the right thing. So here, no doubt, I am just trying to do Feather Arrow damage. So I'm going to put another 6 there. I can Acerola up that Decidueye. And then once I evolve into it again, I can put another 2 damage counters in play as well. So I can probably just put 2 on his, maybe his bench Tapu Lele or Golisopod. I don't know if it matters too much. I think going for the Lele is better though, just because it's an easier target to pick off potentially. And then here I can use Energy Drive for the knockout. So Chris has just not been in a good spot. He's been without a draw supporter for a few turns now, and I hate to say it, but that might be it at this point. I think I'm probably just too far ahead. Yeah, and here he is giving me the game here. So definitely unfortunate for Chris there. His deck kind of stalled out on him this game, and you know, I was kind of the polar opposite. My deck just kind of set up just kind of perfectly. So. But I can't be too sad. I am going to advance on to the finals match. So guys, definitely stick around for that. We'll have that upload in the next day or so as well. I'll have a link in the description as well whenever it goes live. But as usual, guys, feel free to like and subscribe. And if you can support us by picking up something at our online store, rarecandytcg.com, or supporting us on Patreon/rarecandytcg, it would mean a lot to us. But with that, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you for the next one.